2, 1, go.
Welcome to Trading Market Open. This is an experimental thing that I'm doing right now. I'm going to look at some price action when we start. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we'll play with that. We'll see how that goes. We'll go back to the SPY chart. Right, this is good. We get in the 2B reversal of our swing low here.
Before we get rolling here, just a reminder to please like and share our videos. Your support helps us to continue to bring you the wonderful content that we share with you each and every week.
We come into here. So see this level here, this level here. We might get negative off of that. I don't know. But I'd like to see this penetrate back over here. Virginia was saying on the 5-minute SPY, it reacted to the swing high, of the on session. Okay, that's a good observation, right? This is kind of tough because I'm trying to look at a bunch of things and talk to you guys through and look at trading at the same time. So there's a lot going on. Okay, yeah, Michael's just saying that was also Friday's highs. Yeah, so that was a good short trade if you recognize that, right? You could have gone on the short side there. This ended up being a pretty good long trade here when we started pulling under price pattern target. And again, it kind of goes with the underlying bias that I'm kind of long market for the day. So I would have liked to have seen this go a little higher and take the short trade, but being patient and waiting out for potential long trade here is the other option. So really we can go in either direction, but we want to understand our underlying assumptions of where we're going. And I don't know if this is going to work out or not. This could turn around and go lower. We don't know. And that's the other thing I kind of want to point out is I think that a lot of people need to be so sure that they're going to be right that they won't take a trade. And, realistically, I could have gone either way with this. I just decided to go on the long side. And then, of course, I can kind of pop out of this if we decide that we want to break lower. In the bigger context of things, like on SPX, for example, right, you might say, well, this is going to try and retest the bottom of the gap. And I would say, yeah, there's a decent probability of that or whatever. I can actually, like if I wanted to scoop out of this and say, this is just being very slow on me today. But realistically, if I wanted to scoop out of this, I could do it at almost nearly a break even, probably. Or in other words, my risk is just really, really small. We'll see how the pattern plays out. But if I want to play the long bias, right? And let's just say this breaks down. I may take another shot down in this range at 53 because that's the price pattern target breakdown from the price pattern that we had there. From a longer term standpoint, this whole area is a support zone. So realistically, the market could roll up in any area that on any pullback anywhere really in this range. This is the first potential with the pullback that I might play long. Virginia's saying 536 she thinks is a good support level on SPY, right? So and I'm kind of watching the tick too, like it's positive. I don't know if it was positive during the drop, but one of the things I might be looking at if I'm able to focus more on what I'm doing is when we're getting this pullback on the 2-minute, is it pulling back under a positive tick or is it pulling back under a negative tick? Usually if it's pulling back under a positive tick, it's usually going to hold support level. If it's pulling back under a heavily negative tick, then, well, the support level is likely to go. But you notice this is picking up pretty good. I don't know what the internal numbers are doing here. And we kind of sold off a little bit. You can see it there. That's a pretty high number to open on a 2000 positive tick or a positive AD line. Up volume is still holding, right? So that tends to be maybe a little bit more on the bull side. From a SPY standpoint, on the 5-minute, this looks like a decent, maybe potential support area, right? With these swing highs in Wednesday. Yeah, looking pretty solid right now. They can change fast, but right now they're looking pretty. They don't look like a market that wants to go down just yet. But like we said on the open, we're looking for that short-term down move off the open. I just thought it would push a little higher before it came down, and I missed that, right? So I ended up missing that trade. If I was looking at it maybe a little bit more aggressively, maybe I would have, got into that down move. If I was in that down move, I'd probably still be in it. I don't know that I'd pop out of it yet because we haven't really gotten the signal we're going higher. We just don't really have, well, we got a lot of neutrality right now. Oh, yeah, I don't know. And we can try if you guys want, we can try opening the mic up and you guys can talk and share your thoughts. I'm open to that. At any point, I can say, okay, I don't like it and I want to get out, and I could just take a small loss or whatever on the position. And then if I were to do that, then I could hit it again if it breaks higher, right? Because we're setting in like this patternish type of thing going on. And certainly if we break into the swing highs, I could do that. So in other words, I have a lot of different options that I could do here, depending on how squirrely I am and so forth. Virginia's saying 5541.5 is our volume profile point of control. Are we over that or under that in SPY? I don't know. So one of the things that you need to decide is what your conviction level is and how much, like, this should be, and it's going to depend on the day. Like yesterday, I would have like a really strong, not yesterday, but last Monday, I might have like a really strong bullish conviction. Where today I'm a kind of little bit more wishy-washy because I don't really have like a really strong thing on the daily. It's like we've been up a lot. The market didn't act as bullish as I thought it might on the open. It's bouncing a point that makes sense, which is right here. So that's fine, but this is kind of like a point of neutrality here. Virginia's saying 541.50, which if I throw that in here, we're actually under that point, by the way, right now. 541.50 is here. So we're just kind of neutral right now. So let's make it blue or something. Right. So we're kind of like indecision. We do have uptrend line, right? So some things we could watch is I'd like to see us hold uptrend line. Ideally. I'd like to see us hold this 150 level, ideally. I'd like to see us hold this trend line, ideally. And we're kind of not. Yeah, there's the drawing. See how like this is not going? I'd probably redraw that to here. But it's not going. Right, so that might take me say, well, I had a nice entry here, but the trade really isn't working out. My tick's kind of gone flat and nothing's really happening. So like if I'm in a time spread, like if I did a condor, I might kind of like that, right? Because we're getting a lot of indecision here. We're pretty neutral on the tick. We're pretty neutral on our levels here. The traders really aren't deciding that they want to do anything here. If I'm squirrely on that, or like I said, whatever, I could just dump that trade because it's not really playing out. I also have downtrend line kind of in play here, right? So this is already failed me once, but let me just kind of bring it to where we're at. I also have downtrend line that I would like to see us clear to the upside. So see how we're just kind of neutrally here. A 20 moving average on what time frame, right? Like I'm not going to use the 20 moving average on a daily time frame. Oh, on the 2-minute chart. Yeah, I mean, see what your asset reacts to? Is it reacting to it? That's a 200. This is the 50. This is the 20. I find on like, I think a 5-minute chart, it tends to react to the moving averages off a 5-minute chart. I don't usually look at SPY directly. Like this usually likes to react off some moving averages on a 5-minute chart. At least in the index chart, they tend to do that a little bit. But see what just to see what the asset's reacting to. Go in here and say, well, yeah, I get asked the question is, well, we're at 200-day moving average. What does that mean? And it's like, well, why don't you go back and look at the last 20 years and see what it does at the 200-day moving average, and how precise it is. Like I can't use a 200-day moving average on a daily time frame to trade an intraday. It doesn't really mean anything, right? So you want to be appropriate for your time frame in that regard. We'll come back to the 2-minute. We're still kind of neutral, so like I said, I could take this or leave it, which is why I just kind of threw something on there just so we have something to talk about. Like I said, if this was too big for me, I could do something in the SPY. So I'd go, like if SPX is too expensive for my risk, then I can certainly for puts and calls right now. If I'm only dealing with $1,000 a day, I don't want to take on a 7,000. I don't want to buy a $7,000 call. I can come in here and I would probably do SPX. But if I was going to buy 10 SPY, but if I was going to buy 10 SPY calls, I'd do an SPX call or put, probably assuming it's priced okay. And with verticals, I'm going to tend to do probably the SPX, unless I'm doing a wide vertical. Like if I wanted to do a vertical here and, do something like a, 537, 542, that's a pretty wide vertical. I would take that. And there's an advantage to doing the wide verticals versus the narrow ones. I mean, they're a little bit more adjustable. You can make adjustments off of them. And sometimes you can get better risk reward ratios off of doing that. So the asset to me isn't like super important. It's just how does it fit in with what I'm trying to do here? So this is encouraging. We're breaking trend line. It would be more encouraging if we can break horizontal and hold it, which is going to be what, the swing high. Looks like the pricing's coming in okay though, so that's good. Right, nice strong tick. I would say our internals are probably looking decent. So there's really nothing indicating we're coming down. What time is it? It's 10:03. Oh, we'll play with this for a little while longer. We'll see where this goes. There we go. Getting a little bit now, finally. Like I could take another long trade here. So say, and I'm just going to throw out different scenarios, right? So say I ended up saying, oh, I don't like what's going on here and I'm going neutral. I might take another long trade with break of trend line here. Right? So I would get in somewhere maybe in here. I can take another one here, although I'm not like a super big fan of breakout trades. If I was late to the party, or I wanted to be back in because everything's been bullish really on the internals, then I'd be interested in that. I'd be a little bit cautious if this breaks up into the level that we were going to short it on the open. That might be a reason to lower risk or maybe drop out of something. Like I said, we don't have a lot of movement today, which is why I just jump right into verticals, right? And if I'm gonna get a lot of, if I think I'm gonna get a lot of movement, probably going to be in calls. If they're too expensive, I might do verticals, but I would do wide verticals to help offset the calls. It helps me make more money with less market range, and it reduces my cost going in. If I'm really thinking the market moves are going to be small, then I want to be in really tight verticals, because that's going to give me the least amount of risk. It's going to give me the least amount of movement I need in the asset for a profit.